Hey, and welcome back to Eastie's Corner. Right. Okay, let's put somewhere you can see. Right then, so basically this is the sketch. Today I'm going to be working on my Saab 9.3. It's a 2004 2-litre turbo aero convertible. Right then, basically you've probably seen in my last videos that I replaced the wheel hubs. Now there's one wheel hub that I'm having is becoming problematic now, whether it's a supplier and the part or if it's actually the car that's doing it. I can't see it, but it's just a bit yeah, shit. So anyway, so this is what happened. I bought a set of wheel hubs, as you've seen in my video. I replaced one side, replaced the other side, all singing and dancing, brilliant, fantastic. 100 miles later and an MOT, and I'm told that the wheel bearings on the passenger near side are failing. So I asked that company to uphold its warranty. I'll send the part back for your inspection, whatever. I'll do what you need me to do. I need a replacement part. And they said no, basically, sod off. We're not upholding the warranty. You need to send us a, and if you want a replacement part, we need a report from a fully qualified mechanic, which is a problem because Zid from Zid Motorsport provided that for me because he worked on the car. So he provided a statement or report to say the fact that the wheel bearings have failed already after not even completing 100 miles, which in my eyes is really, really bad. They're basically saying it's not good enough. So I've taken it up with PayPal, and they're going to try and get me my money back, or at least half my money, because that's really what I want, just so I can go to French, German, Swedish to get, or Swedish, German, French, GSF, yeah, GSF, isn't it? German, Swedish, French, to get a replacement part for my car. In the meantime, so I could use my car, I went to another company who sold these parts and I bought one of them parts from there. And again, that will have actually failed less than 50 miles on the clock. Anyway, so I got hold of that company and I said, your parts failed. The wheel hub is the bearings in the wheel hub are completely shot. There's loads of play in the wheel. I need a new one. So they said to me, okay, we'll give you £5 compensation and you can keep the part. Nah, I want a replacement part. I've paid for a decent part. I've paid a lot of money. I want a part. So they've said, okay, we'll replace the part. So why don't you just offer that in the first place, you wankers? Even though they don't have a guarantee on their parts either. Anyway, so they've sent me a replacement part, thank God. So we're here now to put this replacement wheel hub on my Saab yet again. So I'm still going to wait as well for the other. I'm hoping they're going to send me a replacement part from the other company. I suggest people just go to the main dealers, or try not to cut too many costs. Just go to the main dealers or the people that supply the proper parts and get it from there, or do your research into the company before you buy the part. Make sure they specialise in them parts, or at least don't make hair bubbles and water bottles and other fucking shitty things, and as well as car parts, you know what I mean, because I made that mistake with this company. So anyway, so yeah, let's crack on. Right then, back in a second. Okay, to remove or refit the wheel hub, firstly, you need to take the wheel off. Okay, so undo all the nuts. I've just put some locking nuts on this. So there's a little case, tools in it and all that. So let's have it. Right then, so little plastic locator thing goes on, pulls the locking nut a bit off, and then you can push it out or take it off of that, push that through and it pops it out. Good bit of kit. Saab only. Locking more on it. a locking wheel nut, just for your reference. A locking wheel nut shouldn't be done up as tight as the rest of the wheel nuts on the wheel. Makes sense? Obviously do it up tight, but don't over tighten it, because these things have a tendency of breaking. But it's the key that breaks, not the nut. Or wheel stub, what we're going to call it. So there you go, that one's out. So basically, just make sure the others are loose. Right. And once they're loose, you back the car up. Okay, and make sure the car's unlocked as well. So when I did this last time, I set the alarm off because it's got one of them anti-chipping alarm things, sensor on each wheel corner of the car, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so basically what you're doing here is you're removing the wheel first, okay, and you'll be putting it straight back on again. And you're probably thinking, why is he going to take it off to put it straight back on again? Idiot. There's a reason behind that. Okay. Look, centre cup out with your wheel. Okay. Wheel back on, because you need to undo the nut. The wheel bearing, the wheel hub nut, or the hub nut as it's called. So I'm only going to put 3 nuts back in, 3 wheel nuts. Right. Reason for this is you don't need all 5 in, really you don't need 3 in, to be honest you only need 2 in. But I'm going to put 3 in, just to be safe. Okay, and you don't have to do them up particularly tight either. That's what I'm doing here. Is that. Right then, so basically, hang on, okay, for this job you need a 32mm, right, and your breaker bar. Okay, so what you need to do is lower the car back onto its own weight, make sure the handbrake is on, okay, set the bar on, and undo the nut. The hub nut, whatever you want to call it. Okay, jack the car back up. And undo the nuts again. Okay, so what I'm going to do, this job takes about 45 minutes to an hour, so what I'll do is when I'm undoing the nuts I'll keep stopping the video, pausing it, and then when I've done that job I'll come back to it, because I can't edit certain parts of this video and fast forward it because it's all done on my phone. So I'm not one of these to sit on a computer editing stuff, even though it would be nice if I had the time. But I just don't have the time, I've got too much going on. Right, so basically undo the hub nut, don't take it off, undo it, so what have we just done with that? Oh, it's here, look. Okay, so undo the hub nut until you can't see the thread, and this will become apparent later. Right then, what do I need now? Oh yeah, right, so I think this is, you need to take off the brake caliper. Okay, And to take your brake caliper off, you need an E20. Right? When you've taken the brake caliper off, you need, where is it? An E14 for the lower control arm, and I think it's a 13mm. Just give me a second. Okay, for the bottom control arm, you need a 16mm and an E14. Okay, so we'll get. Oh, hang on a minute. We'll get this undone first. I'll come back to you when it's undone. Okay, the bottom control arm bolt is out. Now I'm going to take off the call it the I don't want to make sure. I want to make sure I'm turning this the bloody right way. So yeah, so basically you need a hammer for this. It's an E20. If you can see that, look, E20 to take off the brake calipers. Oh, I went the wrong way. Or am I? Hang on a minute. There we go. I'm done. Right. Basically what I'm undoing is that one there and that one there. I'll come back when they're undone. That's number 1 out. Number 2 out. So what you need to do now, give me a second. Okay, sorry, what you need to do now is get some wire, speaker wire, this kind of wire, metal wire stuff. It doesn't really matter what you have really. Just get the caliper out the way of what you're doing. So I normally tie it to the spring coil, whatever you want to call it, suspension coil, just to get it out of the way. Because the last thing you want to be doing is wrestling the brake caliper and potentially damaging pipe work, brake pipes, when you can just tie it up out of the way. Right then. The reason why I told you to leave the hub nut on is so you can do this. Okay, that has just basically knocked the drive shaft loose. Then what you need to do, give me 2 seconds. So what you need to do now is take the nut off, the hub nut off, put that to one side. Because you've taken the control arm off, or the bolt out the bottom of the control arm, or the bottom control arm, okay, you need to take it out the hub. The reason you take it out the hub is so you can get the drive shaft out. Once you've got the drive shaft out, you put the lower control arm back on, and this will become apparent in a second. So you get it back on. line. Just give it a little hit with the hammer, let it go home. And then what I do is I've got a t-shirt, is I put it around the spring, about halfway up, and with the armholes, put them through the wheel hub to give me the space I need to work. Right then, so take off your E20 and get yourself E18.
Why don't you have a model for me,
Okay.
Mrs. Kensington?
That's it.
You know
I'm
how
gonna use a
Mr.
breaker bar for
Kensington
this.
feels about that.
Oh, behave.
I did them quite tight.
Yeah, baby.
So I'll take you around the back. So basically what you're doing is taking off or loosening this nut and this nut, or bolt, sorry, and that will alleviate and allow you to take off the wheel hub. So I'm going to crack on now and do that, and I'll come back to you when I've taken them off. Okay, they're all now loose. Sometimes you need that extra bit of leverage when you're taking these off, but if you use a breaker bar, it's better than breaking your ratchet. That's one off, don't need that one, that'll go in the bin. Alright, there's another one off. And this one, because it's right inside the hub itself, or the bottom of the where the spring and the shock absorber goes into. There's another one off. Just use an extension bar. Right, basically what we do now is this. Oh yeah, you need to take off the brake disc. Hang on a second. So to get the brake disc off, you need a T30. I'm not convinced on that, to be honest. I think it's a Allen key fitting. It is, yeah. Or is it? I don't think it is. Oops. So it's a T30. Okay. Okay, it's not a T30. Oh no, here we go. Just more going wrong. What the hell is going on with this today? I just don't understand why I've got so much fucking going wrong for me today. There we go, that's better. Okay. Oh, brilliant. Fucking fantastic. Hang on, I'm going to smash fuck out of it and then I'll come back to you when I'm happy. Okay, so I managed. Where's it going? I managed to get it out, okay? The locking nut for the brake disc, right? So, again, hub, knackered. Let's put the new one on. Okay, so, I've got the new wheel up, okay? Make sure you put all your rubbish in the recycle bin. And you can go walkabout, get blown about and that shit. Right then, so with these, they come with a built-in ABS sensor, and also this helps with the traction control as well. So this part here needs to face forward of the vehicle, so it needs to be in your hub like that. Okay, so make sure this is all in line properly. Okay, there we have it. That's now all lined up, ready to go. The plug can reach the ABS sensor lead on the other side, or inside comfortably and not be stretched like it is the other side. Right, so you've got all these new bolts to put in, so let's get on with it and put it all back together again if I can find everything. So I'm now going to have to buy a new locating nut or bolt for the brake disc, because that one I've just taken out is now officially knackered. If you do have issues getting the locating nut out for the brake disc, what you've got to do is I use the chisel. Basically knock in a notch, hopefully in the direction that the bolt undoes, so anti-clockwise. So you've got to try and get it in there at an angle, and then just basically use a screwdriver to tap away. I've done 2 notches diagonally across from each other on it, and then I just used a screwdriver and tapped away until it undone, and it came undone, which is all good. So basically you end up with a locking nut looking a little bit like that. This is just a let's get rid of that light. Can you see that? How knackered that is now, and there is nothing that's going to fit inside that tool wise, so that is as good as scrap, but I need to go and get one anyway. So yeah, once that's in place, get your ABS lead plugged in, okay, and then get that lead located so it's away, out of the way. Bells, oh Jesus, bells, I think say. This will go in. There we go, and it's in place. Right then. So now what you've got to do is tighten up these bad boys, and then that's your new wheel hub in place. Back in a second. Okay, so they're done up nice and tight, but I've done it up with a ratchet and got them up nice and tight, but I always like to use the breaker bar. As you can see there, they always have that, just that little bit more to go. So on that note, with them all done up nice and tight, I like to give them just not even a quarter of a turn with a hammer, just to make sure they're done up nice and tight. And this is the reason why I use a small breaker bar, just to make sure that that wheel hub and bearing assembly is located flush to the suspension part of the hub assembly, if you know what I mean. Anyway, so okay, that's come off. Oh dear, I've broken the what have I? Okay. Get a breakage in there, never mind. Okay, right then. So, what we need to do now is get the hub located back into this hub. So, bottom suspension arm back off. Ouch. Okay. T-shirt out the way. Make sure that you push that hub back in towards the engine. That will hopefully align itself, which it looks like it's done. Yep, that's gone in. Okay, so with this, low suspension arm, sorry, lower control arm, just knock it back in place. Oh, excuse me, drive shaft goes back through the new wheel hub and bearing assembly. Get that nut done back up. Well, that's tight. It's all new. Okay, and then once that's done back up, we'll get the brake disc back on there, and then we'll get the brake caliper back on. Anyway, I'll come back to you. Okay, I've done that up as tight as it will go. Obviously, that's still spinning. We'll get the lower control arm bolt back in place. Just give it a few small taps with a hammer to relocate that. Nut back on. Back on with a 16mm spanner and the E14 hex key type ratchet socket. In fact, that's the wrong one, that's part of that. E14. That's about it. So again, I use a ratchet and a ratchet spanner working together, makes the job on a lot quicker. You can hear both ratchets there working away nicely in unison. Okay, that's done up nice and tight. Now it's time to put the brake disc back in place. Okay. For now, unfortunately, it's going to have to be a case of no locking nut locator for the brake disc. Just because I don't think I've even got one spare, to be honest, from all the other little jobs that I've done in the past. Make sure you don't twist the brake pipe. Get the brake caliper back in place. Get the nuts or bolts located again. once they're back in, do them up. Oh, glove got in the way then. Okay, they're in place, so let's get them done up and I'll come back to you. Right, just doing the last one up there at the bottom. Yeah, so basically I don't like using these to do the last little bit of torquing with the with these bolts. I always like to give them a little tap with a hammer just to make sure they are tight, and when you know they're tight, you know they're tight, and there's no way that they're going to come loose when you're going down the road. So just not like fucking rock all and try and smash it, you know, just a nice couple of firm taps with a hammer usually does the trick. Right then, so that's out of the way, that's out of the way, that's all done, that's all plugged in. So now all I've got to do is get the wheel back on, then we can lower the car onto the weight of the wheel. I mean, yeah, lower the weight of the car onto the wheel, then we can get that hub nut back done up. And there's another broken screwdriver. So yeah, it's been going well today so far, to be honest. Not really, but there we go. Where's the other one? There we go. Oh well, whatever, that can go there. I'm going to keep that nub hut actually. Nub hut? What's a nub hut? Hub nut. The nub hut covers. Say that again. The hub nut covers I don't bother keeping. Split pins can always be useful somewhere. So that hub nut cover will be going in the bin. Scrap. Don't need it. And yeah, so that's all now on. We'll get the wheel back on. We'll get the hub nut done up, hopefully. Wheels located. You don't really need the locating bolt for the hang on a second, I'm going to go the other way because I'm right-handed. Yeah, you don't really need the locating bolt for the brake disc. It just aids ease and simplicity when you're putting things together or taking things apart. If it can't move, you know, while you're doing things up, then great, but you don't actually need it, because some of the old cars never had them on there, because the wheel goes through the, as you know, goes through the brake disc and into the wheel hub, therefore keeping the brake disc centre and firm anyway. So yeah, it just makes the job a little bit easier. So I will replace that when I get time. So there you go. So let's get these done up. Take that off a minute. Oh yeah, when you're doing things up that are round, always tighten up across from each other, so you get an even even tightening effect. Because if you go round, start at number 1, go number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, you know, and go around like that, then whatever you're putting, if it's got to sit flush against something, will end up like that, and you'll think it's all done up. But if you go top, bottom, side, and just keep working like that, then it will go it will come flat, and then it'll go like that, then it'll go flat, then it'll go up, and then flat. You know, you get the idea. I say you're supposed to tighten things up there. They've got lots of nuts or bolts to them, So we'll lower the car back on to the wheel so it's on its own weight. And what I will do is I will do the wheel up properly. We're going to start. I'll start here. Okay. You're probably thinking I'm mad. I'm not using a Torx wrench, but I basically do the wheel up until I think it's tight enough. I'm not going to snap the bloody hub nuts because you won't. Well, you can do if you over tighten them, but I tend to do them up as far as I think they need to be done up. Right, especially with the locking nut, never over tighten them because you'll never get them off. It's not the fact that you'll never get them off because you've over tightened them, it's all to do with the actual key itself. The key usually breaks before the nut does. So, yeah, that's now